ServiceNow back in 2018 being able to introduce stuff specifically for financial close. So it's not like this vertical orientation is new. We're going to see a lot more of it. And I think that we're just talking about changing some of the underlying plumbing and taking advantage of the flavor of the day to take and make it supposedly more relevant. I think it comes down to, well, show us.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, welcome to Analysts Gone Wild. We are on Friday afternoon and almost the end of March. We've been doing this for a while. We got a good group here. How's everybody doing today?
Can't complain now.
Great.
Oh my God, we got to be doing better than that. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's not Monday. It's Friday.
It doesn't feel like a Friday.
Oh my God, come on. So we got some good people here. We're going to talk about business and enterprise data and ERP and how a business can take advantage of all this innovation and make more of the noise and make it a valuable product for them. So let's introduce ourselves. Robert Kramer with more insights and strategy. Let's kick it over to you, Thomas, and then Ken, and then Sam, and then we'll get started with the first story. Tom, how are we doing today?
Yeah, well, we are doing fine. Thomas Ebernight of Red Hat CRM, and as usual, I'm looking into CRM-ish and AI-ish topics, and we'll talk more about ERP than I probably should.
Oh my God. Okay. Ken, how are we doing today?
Ken.
Who are you calling on now? Was that
Ken?
me?
Yeah.
Yep. I think so. Is that you today? You guys are gonna read? Come on.
Hey, Ken Gonzalez here. A pretty simple group covering infrastructure and operations, application development, CIO topics, and of course, the obligatory smattering of AI.
Oh, okay.
Good to be here with you guys.
Thank you. Sam, how are we doing today? I haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't been on the show in a couple of weeks, been doing some traveling. But,
yeah, I'm doing great. It feels like Friday, and maybe we need to order some drinks here so that Ken also feels like this is Friday. Okay, maybe we can grab. I mean, this is supposed to be a Friday show, light show. Sam Gupta here, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent vendor agnostic technology advisory firm. On that note, Robert, over to you.
Yeah. So, guys, with baseball kicked off this week, and in Toronto, how'd they do yesterday? They play yet, or
no? Today is the first game.
Who are you playing?
Today, Athletics, I guess. Yeah.
What do we think about AI being more involved in the pitch count this year, where they can, you can actually, do a flag and have it reviewed. You get a certain amount of those a game. Do we like that? Do we think it's a positive component of baseball, or takes the tradition out, or a little of each?
I don't know, depending upon whether the decisions are going to be in our favor or not. I guess that's what will drive, or whether I'm going to like it or not. As long as Blue Jays win, that's what matters.
Well, Sam, when you put yourself in a position to win and you can't do it, I don't know what to tell you. You got to finish it off. You got to close the deal. Lots of people, and this is something to teach your kids, there's some people just don't know how to close.
So, look, we like to give other people chance. We are very kind, generous, 1 year, if you don't get it, that's okay. We have not got this for how many years? Come on, one more year. Next year, we are going to get it. So what?
Was it when with Carter was there? Was it we were kids then?
Yeah. We can wait, man. We are very patient people,
Yeah, Americans aren't as patient as the Canadian. Can you give us some advice before we jump into the first story, how to be more patient?
You're asking me, Robert?
Yeah.
Just don't have too many expectations in life. That's how, we do it, I guess.
All of this
Eat what you hunt.
is something positive, right?
Yeah, well,
Bring your own beverage. That's what I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the first story. We have Anthropic here. Yep. So they extend their MCP. And this is a pretty significant player in the business. Anthropic, one of the primary development companies, early ecosystem partners that they have on where they're extending their MCP. I believe they have like Asana, Box, and Canva, and Monday.com, and Salesforce, already adapted by OpenAI's ChatGPT and others. So they're extending their MCP. This is a standard for AI to application connectivity. Why was this done, guys? Is this something that is going to be a big benefit to enterprise users? We definitely are going to have some challenges here, but at the same time, the big picture looks pretty good. What do you think, Ken?
Well, I have to say that I am a big fan of Anthropic and all of, really, when you get right down to it, all of the foundation model providers. Yeah, I think that they're doing remarkable work, and I'll call out specifically Anthropic here in this situation. Their pace of innovation with the amount of software that they release is, quite frankly, breathtaking compared to what most of us in the business have been used to for the past 40 years. Because most of what's actually getting released now is not actually being handwritten by humans. It's actually Claude writing things and now being put into new features and functionality. And the way that they are thinking about being able to leverage the platform and other tools that are part of the extended ecosystem using MCP is a really great thing. And it's also a really challenging thing, because trying to keep up with the amount of new features and functionality that are being provided is almost a full-time job. So for people that are actually using the tech stack, there's a lot you can do, and there's a lot more you're going to be able to do. So I really like the fact that they're talking about new ways of being able to extend MCP, so you do not necessarily have to be driving it at the command line. I think that bodes well for the different types of products that we're going to see coming to market, and especially now that we have people all the rage over OpenClaw and the variants that are coming from it. It's going to make for some interesting times and put technology in the hands of people who are less quote unquote technical and are more interested in just getting better, faster, and more reliable sets of outcomes. So this is, in my mind, 2 thumbs up.
And I think why that's important, what you just said, like, what is that outcome? So that means that customers, and this is the outcome, that they could use, for example, draft something in Slack, preview box files, and manage Asana tasks all without leaving Claude. Is that the case? And I think that's the advantage, that you're able to do all this stuff in Claude. And Salesforce is doing something similar, where you can bring Agentforce, Data 360, Customer 360 together as well. But what were you going to say, Thomas?
It's bidirectional. So, and to paraphrase Kengan, we won't code much anymore, but we will Claude it sooner or later.
Yeah.
in order to get this stuff done. So, to me, this, back to the announcement, to me, this is quite an important one, actually, because Anthropic, of the bigger vendors of foundation models, is the one that's most business focused. So, well, probably with the minor exception of Microsoft, who are getting into a similar direction. But as a vendor of models, they are the ones who are best suited to support businesses. And what they are focusing here on is connecting to business value, and connect to it bidirectionally, actually. So you can do stuff from within Claude or within Slack or Box or wherever you are at this time, assuming that the the MCP server and client are sort of meaningful, which I wouldn't doubt, given that they are clouded. So this differentiates them from more user-orientated platforms like OpenAI and Meta in general. So what does Llama? Did anybody hear something about Llama in the past months?
No.
Gemini is probably the only other one.
Yeah.
And they are mostly focused on their own stack.
Sam, what do you think?
It's really interesting because I think that from where the burden now shifts to the consumer, and especially the enterprise consumer, is thinking about the way that we want people to work and which set of technology is actually going to be best aligned with the tasks that you need your employees to perform and the way that you're going to handle your data. And, these are serious considerations, as well as being able to think about the perennial problem of, are we getting good data in? Are the data sources that we are planning to use, do we trust them? Have they been properly scrubbed so that we're getting good, clean data in? Because just like it's always been for analytics capabilities, if we are not providing good data in, we're not going to get good data out.
Yeah. Why did you say that though? Because don't you think like the answer is no to that? I mean, what company have you met this year, last year, their data is perfect? I mean, I think that's the major conundrum with all this stuff. Like, fine, but data is like so bad. It's if you're a business, don't you owe it to yourself to go fix all this data so that you can take advantage of this great technology?
I mean, there is no company with perfect data and never will be.
Right.
What we see is that businesses now have a real incentive and a business case to clean up their shit, to get into cleaner data. Before that, the business case was very hard to prove that clean data helps. Right now, well, with the acceleration that those models give us, so you are getting to, rubbish in, you are getting to fast rubbish out. Before it took you a bit more time. And that accelerates too much, so the case becomes clearer.
Yeah.
And
so
you see it with companies like Salesforce as well, that they bought Informatica last year. Why did they buy that company? In order to get the data pipelines clean.
Yeah. So guys, sorry, Robert, go please.
I mean, these are just, I think those are want to be actions. I don't know if those actions have occurred, with companies. But I think it's more an ongoing. It goes back to my, Sam likes to talk about change management so much. It goes back to that has to be ingrained in the companies have significant data management strategies, and I'm not sure that's consistent.
Yeah. So in being consistent with the change management team, I'm probably going to have a lot more questions with my commentary today than answers that you want. And you are going to wonder and probably going to get confused, here with my commentary. And you are going to wonder that I should have brought my wine today. So let me start here. So in this particular case, I guess, Thomas, you are right. They might be slightly more business focused. Their priority seems to be that, but everybody's making push to enterprise for the most part. But architecturally speaking, there are a lot of layers in this, right? So one point that you all have mentioned that Salesforce is pushing to Slack a lot as well, right? And these guys, obviously, everybody literally are trying to integrate with Slack because Slack is an interface where everybody's trying to interact. So you need to have that. But we have seen some announcements from Anthropic perspective as well that they are launching their app. This particular announcement, if I see and if I want to predict here, I think this is going to be the next evolution of chatbot-like interface the interface is going to probably become richer. I don't know if everybody else is going to follow. I don't know if this is going to be intertwined with the same experience that we have right now. I think they have been trying to embed some of the edge with the chat interface. I don't think anybody has really figured it out. It's going to take some time before they have real answer on what is going to work. Even for Google interface, they don't have clear answer. So here, there are three themes here, right? So number one is going to be this interactive experience on the LLM layer itself, where you are going to have far more firepower than just the chat or text or images, back. Now we are going to have some sort of a screen, maybe interactive element, the way, I don't know whether you guys remember from the phone perspective, with SMS also, they had figured out some of the interactive elements. So maybe these guys are trying to figure that out. The second could be that we have seen they are trying to design real app on top of Anthropic or ChatGPT. Obviously that's easy, but I don't know how much value you are going to have, because then you are probably getting all your interactions to that app marketplace. I don't know how useful, meaningful that is going to be. But then you also have the enterprise interaction, the way Slack is going to be interacting with these apps. So that's the third layer. So I don't know where the market is moving, but overall, I see this as more of the evolution of the LLM framework.
Yeah, it's not earth shattering, but puts quite a stake into the ground, because it's covering all three layers.
Yeah,
mentioned.
Yeah. Next story, Robert, or
yeah.
The last thing I'll say is the world's getting a lot flatter, Sam, and I think that's actually a good thing for all of us.
Let's not become flat earthers here.
So tell me more about that comment. Why would you say, Ken? Where is that comment coming from? Maybe tell us more. The world is becoming flatter, meaning you mean like the technical.
You talked about different ways that we're interacting with LLMs as a platform.
Yeah,
and I think that the borders between what we've traditionally held as, okay, this is your chat interface, this is tasks that the LLM is executing on your behalf.
Yeah,
these are the things that you are doing as a practitioner to build tools or to go through and construct harnesses to use and more agentic approaches. The borders between all these things are becoming much more porous. So you can't just say, oh, well, that's, in this bucket and this, the buckets are dissolving.
Yeah.
And it is a good thing because it's challenging the way that we've traditionally thought about how things are segmented. Maybe it doesn't need to be like that. Maybe by adding more conversational interfaces, we're opening ourselves up to new ways of being able to interact and engage that really allow us to work more naturally, even if it's going to take us some other work to get to the point where that's now actually integral to how we actually do our work.
Yeah, great points, Ken. Robert, do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Hubbl Technologies. So I know we all have heard of them, and I know that Thomas will have some things to say. Raises $6 million to become the intelligence layer for the Salesforce agentic era. Hubbl, they started in 2022. And I believe Salesforce is one of the investors in their company, Salesforce Ventures. So that's kind of a key thing. So the contextual, it's kind of what you were talking about a little bit, Ken, that contextual, layer. And that's what this is talking about, to give those agents within Agentforce some of that. So there's been a big investment in this area before. So why is this a little different, if I'm not mistaken? And what needs to be done from a planning perspective to make this work? What are the pros and the cons? It sounds like this is something that customers can directly benefit from. But it does hinge, Sam, as we talk a lot about the data. Yeah. What are we all thinking? What's the next step on this? Start with you, Ken.
At this point, I don't know enough about this particular area to be able to speak authoritatively, so I'll leave that to Sam to pick up.
Okay. All right. So here, I guess, if you look at this technology, the way I see it in my mind, It seems like they are doing a little bit of benchmarking based on data. So it's not just the technology play. This might be very similar to Deltec, what Deltec had done. I don't know if you guys remember those stories or not. So obviously, Salesforce is trying to be more of the horizontal platform, the way their market positioning is. But here you are doing benchmarking with their data. Obviously, that's where the real power is. If you look at some of the supply chain platforms, the reason why they are powerful is because they not only offer technology, they also offer the real benchmarking to improve, hopefully, your processes, other things that you might be doing. So that's where I see this play. Now, I am going to bring another angle here with respect to today's announcement of SAP. I don't know if you guys followed that, but it seems that they are either interested or they have, I don't know what is the current stage, but I think they are acquiring Reltio. That's my understanding, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it seems like, there is a war between Salesforce and SAP. They are going head to head in the
Tell
data
us
player.
something new. Tell us
Right.
something new.
Well, so SAP was never as serious about CRM play, to be completely honest. They tried, but they were not as serious about CRM play. Generally, traditionally speaking, Salesforce considered Microsoft as much bigger competitor than SAP.
Yeah.
SAP versus Salesforce wasn't as big a war, but now that seems to be the case because obviously maybe Salesforce is trying to get into the whole data control layer, and then AI is going to be powerful because of that. So now, obviously, SAP is getting into that game as well. So I don't know where that is going to go, because if you look at the whole benchmarking intelligence layer, the benchmarking intelligence is going to be far more powerful when you are going to have cross-functional insights. In this case, Hubbl is great, but what is this? Like sales benchmarking, great, but it's not enterprise benchmarking. So you are going to have other perspectives that are going to be slightly siloed. So again, that's what Salesforce does. But when you look at benchmarking analytics data, that needs to be slightly more centralized. It can't be siloed, is my perspective.
No, it can't. And that's not the end game at all. So look at what Zendesk did a few days ago, last week, before last, acquiring Forethought. This is where automation, with or without agents, will go.
Yeah.
So it will be kind of self-improving, because that's where the real value is. And this is where probably also the value of the investment in Hubbl is.
Yeah.
Besides giving a kind of a warning shot to a company like Elements.cloud. So there is, automation improvement is something that we are demanding for quite some time. Well, as pundits, we are demanding that for quite some time. And finally, companies are getting there. And what do they need to do for that? They need to be able to analyze the metadata in order to be able to improve it.
Yeah.
So, and this is where the strength of these companies lies. So is it something earth-shattering? No, it's not, but it's positioning. It's pretty much positioning. Although, there's maybe a bit too much positioning in there, because the buzzword density is quite high in that one. But they are augmenting it with factoids. Let's call it facts, but like benchmarking it against thousands of organizations. And so they are putting some serious background behind all those claims, which is a good thing in my box. In my book, not my box.
So I think we have a question, Sam, or two.
Yeah, Robert, your video feed looks froze, I guess, and I don't know. You probably need to keep moving. I think you have something in your camera. For whatever reason, it freezes, I guess. Just keep moving. Say this.
Bonjour,
Hi, Simone.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, France.
We got a couple questions.
Okay, so I think it's wine time for her. Good that at least somebody is able to enjoy. We need to do that as well. Okay, perfect. Okay, so one more comment here. I'm curious not just about the different apps, etc., but also the differences in their free versus paid versus the changing conditions they are putting on their use, including copyright, etc. Is this comment related to Anthropic? I guess that's when it came up.
I would
right?
say that's about Anthropic.
Yeah. Robert, you need to shake again.
Shake the camera.
Are we okay?
Yeah. Right now it looks okay, but keep shaking.
Okay, shake it up.
You keep dancing. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to pay the bills, so you know it's not working unless I'm moving. So okay.
Okay. Do you guys have any comments here on this one? I don't know. I mean, Thomas, I think you are fairly versed in this, right?
This is quite sweeping as a question, or as a comment. So if I wouldn't go look into this free versus paid, because that's where they are all the same. So there is this get the client hooked. That's the free version. And then the commercialization of that, getting people like us or businesses, more important, the businesses, into the paid versions. So in order to help them deliver value to their clients, which probably and now I'm maybe a bit biased, in the case of Anthropic, Anthropic is probably more promising than with most of the other ones, because they are focused on businesses. So now, me being a German, I of course like their copyright stance. I like their ethics stances more than, well, OpenAI. You probably all have this funny shakeout with the Department of Defense still in memory, where Anthropic got kicked out because they had a stance, and OpenAI got not kicked out because they have the same stance, or probably not. Or probably not. So there need to be conditions that are on use, because these things are so powerful that they make that the matrix is probably no more that far away. I mean, think Ukraine and Iran right now. It's not out of this realm of reality that these things become fully autonomous. And this is something where you probably want a provider that has some ethics left. And that applies to businesses too. So that's all I can say to that one. Simon, if you have more specifics, then happy to answer that too. But this is probably as far as we can go here, or I can go here at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have one more comment, unless you guys have any other comment on that.
I do have a comment about that.
Okay, please. Okay.
And this is actually not about Anthropic per se. This is about any of the firms that we're talking about that actually offer AI services. So I think that one of the things that is getting really overlooked, and much to our customer chagrin, is that there are three areas that we must actually pay attention to. First off, terms of service. When's the last time somebody actually looked at the terms of service for a provider they use? Probably never. So number one, you got to do it. Second is their privacy
look at it now.
you got to do it, because if you don't understand the privacy policy, you won't know what potential risks and exposure you're dealing with. And then the third is there's a different type of document, which most people refer to as some sort of data processing addendum, which talks about the way that a provider can actually use the data that they capture on your behalf in order to be able to use the application. And if you don't actually go through and read that and potentially challenge the different sections of this addendum, you are giving carte blanche over to whatever uses that are described there and really have no recourse. So and this is one of the things I work with customers on, is going through and reading and interpreting those agreements, not from a legal sense, but from a practical sense of what does it mean if I go ahead and pay you the money and engage into this commercial relationship. If we don't understand the consequences that go along with that, we could be setting ourselves up for a really bad time.
I didn't even know you are supposed to read that. I used to just click.
Well, they
to
don't
fill the
want you.
form.
They don't want you to read it.
Naughty, naughty, Sam.
That's why it's that legalese and that long.
Okay, so some more comments, guys. Okay, so Simon is saying, how open and transparent can the data across an organization be? In support, understanding the sales account contract was so important to the way we managed the support conversation, right? How is AI going to have that nuance?
Well, my take on this is the answer is it's not. This is why we still need humans. You are not going to have AI just do everything. There are things that AI is good at, and there are things that people are good at. And this is part of the work that we need to do, which is to distinguish those components so that we're actually working together to make things work the way not only they should work, but the way that we really want them to work. So let's not depend upon the AI to provide its own context, because if it does, well, you'll just get whatever it gets based upon whatever training it's done in the past. The real magic here is actually getting people to now contribute their special stuff.
Well, also, don't you think, Ken, it has to do with the LLM governance?
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
and that's a big part of this. If it's not governed correctly, what goes in is, like we talk about with data and quality data, the quality information going into LLMs. If that's not at what you want and governed correctly, that's a major problem at the same time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, guys, we have two more comments. I think she's agreeing with you. Yes, the AI ethics is important, especially with updates to governance due to AI concerns. And she likes TNC. I can never read that. My head never works in that direction, I guess. Okay. All right. So do you want to go to the next story, Robert?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Talk a little about Sage. Intacct delivers new AI-powered capabilities to help with the financial close. This is usually a pretty manual-intensive process, and the goal is, this is, I think, a good place to start within these systems, because that's sometimes it can be somewhat time-consuming, a little bit more challenging to get it done on time, and having these intelligence agents involved, I think, is a component that is a good place to have. I don't think there's a lot of complexity to this. I think a lot of other competitors are doing it. It's to speed up the closing processes and those finance teams to be working at, I guess, a little more efficient. Going back to what Ken said, there still should be a human in the loop. I talk about it all the time with Industry 5.0, collaboration between them, humans and robots. The problem I do have is, are the humans trained to be strategic, to understand what what AI is doing, to be able to manage it correctly for this all to work? I think that's a component that needs to be talked about. Gentlemen, thoughts?
So from my perspective, I guess I'm not going to have much on this story, because there is not much in that story, except we also have AI agents. So I don't know what else to comment. I'm excited to see that Sage Intacct is doing something from the AI powered perspective, and they have some agentic roadmap. But as such, there is not much to the story from my perspective. Thomas, Ken, what do you guys think?
Much or not. So let's put it like that. They seem to have listened to earlier episodes of ours where it comes to give concrete examples of value, which they are giving. Yeah. So whether they, I personally couldn't care much less whether they do that with agents or with hardcore C++ or whatever in between. But they are proposing outcomes here, and that makes the release as such meaningful. And that, if the outcomes come true, of course, strengthens their positioning. So whether that makes it something, let's put it like that, something which is maybe not much, as you say, but to me it's meaningful enough.
Yeah. More comments?
Well, from my perspective, this sounds a little bit like a Copilot AI bolt-on, just from the way that the release is structured. I think they need to do this. I mean, from a vertical perspective, one of the first players to actually start doing something about this was ServiceNow back in 2018, being able to introduce stuff specifically for financial close. So it's not like this vertical orientation is new. We're going to see a lot more of it. And I think that we're just talking about changing some of the underlying plumbing and taking advantage of the flavor of the day to take and make it supposedly more relevant. I think it comes down to, well, show us.
Yeah. So I guess they had done one more story, if I remember correctly. I don't know if you guys were part of that episode, but they have announced the co-pilot capabilities as well. In this particular case, I think they are specifically talking about agentic capabilities. So they seem to be agents. I don't know. Obviously, they have co-pilot as well, but this story is about they are releasing some agentic capabilities as well as agents. That's my understanding. Unless you guys have different take.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Right. Just don't know. And as said, so everybody is talking about bloody agents. Agent here, agent there. Next one is probably an even better example for that. And as putting myself into the users or the customers' shoes, I don't freaking care. I want a job done. I want it done efficiently for me. And that's it. And whether this is an agent or C++, assembly, doesn't matter to me as long as it's doing the job.
Yeah. Robert, do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, let's look at Salesforce a little bit here. That's their next one. They launched Agentforce for communications to turn every customer interaction. So this is focused, I believe, on the telecommunication industry, right? They have 5 new pre-built agents to help them reclaim, more opportunities, a bit more creative, more revenue. That's why we all do these things. I think that, hopefully you guys, this is, I guess would be, in my eyes, expected. So the outcomes sound like they're good. They've already tested it with a couple of vendors, customers of theirs. And I guess, Thomas, you're pretty into this, area. What do you think? I mean, do we care about these? Do these pre-built agents, are they plug and play as much as everybody says they are? Because I've not seen that necessarily from other industries. But is that the case here? Or can they be? I'm assuming they can be tweaked a little bit. And then what happens if they go rogue? I mean, do you have to it or something?
There are kind of two hearts in my chest. So one says, okay, I'm tired. I'm really tired of hearing about agents again. Yeah. Or what they did last week. So talking about an EU trust certification. Yeah. Which is fine, but this is tiring. It does this one at least ties back into some value. And again, I don't care a flying F whether this is delivered by agents or not. It needs to help me. This seems to help me.
What's the outcome? That's all I care about.
Yeah, the outcomes: velocity, revenue lift, service efficiency. These are the outcomes here, probably. Right. So this is where it's tiring me again. So they are selling the promise, and they are charging upfront because it's usage based or seat based. So the accountability and responsibility they treat like Pontius Pilate. Right. I wash my hands. Yeah. So and as long as that doesn't get aligned, I probably don't get less tired.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Ken, what do you think?
Well, so I definitely agree with Thomas in this regard, because ultimately it comes down to, I think, the devil in the details, right?
Yeah.
So exactly what are these agents doing? And I'll go back to my earlier comment about the collaboration between let me refer to this as your AI partner, right? So if you have agents or technology working for you, it becomes your partner. So what does it free up the person to be able to do? Or to what special skill or listening can they bring into that conversation that will that they couldn't do before because they were so focused on repeatable, turn the crank kind of tasks, that now, okay, great. If I have something actually scanning a bunch of records, identifying outliers, and now actioning things for me to be able to, okay, great. I know what I can do with this. That's a potential source of value. Where I get concerned is where we might be targeting this as an opportunity to say, well, gee, I now have an agent doing this, so I don't necessarily need a person to be able to do that. This flies right in the face of, I think, what good operating practice looks like in the world moving forward, and speaks directly to what Thomas was talking about. If we are not paying attention to how we're governing these things and making sure that these agentic technology, these systems are actually functioning properly, we got to go through and verify it. If we are not building that thing, we are not building those things into our operating practices, ultimately we're setting ourselves up for failures, and potentially quite significant ones.
Yeah, great points, guys, and could not agree more. I think obviously you need to verify the more autonomous capabilities that you are going to incorporate as part of your business model, business transactions. It's given that you are going to have some sort of controls governance in place. But at the same time, I guess, in terms of the value, I know that you guys are a little skeptical about the agentic capabilities. But overall, I don't think we have spent enough time and aligned our understanding in creating the real business cases out of these technologies. It's very early stage right now. That's why everybody's super skeptical. It does not mean that there is no power here. Obviously, there is substantial power.
Yep, it's Salesforce after all.
The problem is overselling always, right? They are being oversold, they are being overpositioned, they are being overused, and that's where I guess people are going to have bad taste in their mouth. So it's going to take some time before we have the architectural alignment, what these things are really good at, what they can do. And then obviously everybody will be leveraging them a lot more. But right now, this is great. I see a lot of power, but am I confident in implementing as of today is going to be a question. Okay, Robert, next story?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a pretty interesting one. Sinch is a Swedish company, and I just did some looking at them, and they're, I don't know if you guys knew this, they're a pretty significant company. This is a $3 billion company with 4,000 employees, almost a couple 100,000 customers, and they're positioning itself as a trusted communication infrastructure layer for the agentic. So they released a collection of new features and capabilities to help businesses operationalize these agents. I was at RSA this weekend. One of the things is, how do you control the agents? What mechanisms are in there to take care of all these, nuances and govern the agents correctly, which I'm not sure is questions that are being asked as much as they should. And that's why I was asking you guys kind of jokingly and not jokingly, is there a kill switch? Like, some of these things, like, how do we know that they're acting the way that they should? And then what happens if the communications doesn't work to do that kill switch? So anyway, this is just an interesting story because it's a suite of capabilities. It's in their agent builder, and it's all an engagement around AI. So I like where they're going. It seems like it's a platform that could be used well. I'm not sure, Thomas or Ken, probably more than I do, how it's used and why it's used and what the outcomes are for the customers. But it seems like an intelligent step. What do we think?
An interesting move. What are we facing or seeing right now? What am I seeing? Maybe you see something different. There are turf wars. One is owning the orchestration layer, and the other one is owning the access to the user, means the door. Become the bouncer for all the other vendors in between, making them features in the background, basically. That's also the orchestration layer. So now an execution layer, as we have here, which is the conversation part on top of it, has the potential of becoming a bouncer by controlling, well, the front end and having all the other ones, the other vendors vanish in the background. So this is what they are trying, in my eyes, trying to achieve here when it comes to consumers. So the consumer-facing part of the communication. They surely won't get the business internal part of the communication, which is dominated by Slack and Teams and maybe one or two others. But what they are trying here is to get that share and securing that share. The move, in my eyes, is quite smart. Looking at their competition, I mean, there's a Twilio in there which has significantly more mind share, as you alluded to, Robert, a moment before, or another one that's not so known, Infobip. They're doing the same, and they're doing it strongly too. So, well, it's maybe, well, it's a positioning, right? They're putting their stakes there, and it may or may not work against their competition.
Okay. So from my perspective, I guess I am always trying to figure out, okay, where do these guys fit? And Robert, you mentioned that they are a fairly large company. I don't know if you have come across them somewhere in some sort of deals, then we would know where they sort of fit. In my mind, when I read this, it seems like they are obviously must be in some sort of custom development space. Now, are they competing with IBM? Does IBM have any sort of platform? Could they be an acquisition target for IBM? Is that a possibility? Maybe. I don't know. Who else is in this space? Are they going to be competing with the likes of Anthropic? Is that considered as agent-driven development? I don't know. So who is the competition, I guess? Where is the market? Where do they fit in are probably going to be my questions. I don't know if you guys know.
Well, I would see them against Twilio, Infobip, MessageBird probably. So it's the communications layer, and Anthropic may become a channel for them, or a cloud may become a channel for them the moment we are interacting, communicating with businesses more via models like these. Then it's probably even more OpenAI as a search replacement.
So in your mind, Thomas, so they fit more in the CX layer, right? The technical side of CX layer.
Yeah, the platform and communications layer. That's where I see them.
Okay.
But hey, correct me where I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I'm trying to figure this out as well. And I mean, if they are pure play custom development, and sometimes custom development could be just for the CX piece, if that is the case, maybe they are competition for ServiceNow, because ServiceNow is trying to position in that space as well. So maybe they differ. I don't know. So that's where I'm lost. And I don't know if anybody is trying to position themselves as agent-driven engagement is what they are talking about, right? And I remember one more company that we had reviewed recently. I don't remember the name. Which one was that? I don't know if it is Genesis or something closer to that. And it's one company in CX space. They are doing very similar things as well. Obviously, Zendesk is trying to do similar things, right?
They all are.
Yeah,
yes. But well, the Zendesks and Genesises of just wanted to say Pegas. Boy, why did I want to say Pegas? So the Genesises and Zendesks of Fresh of this planet are more coming from a business scenario angle. Yeah. Whereas these are coming from a pure communications angle, interaction angle with actually consumers. So this is, it's just a communications angle that the Zendesks and Genesises of this planet want to try to keep outside, whereas they want to get in.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do one more? We got time.
Yeah, let's do one more.
So Typeface, so they're launching, or they're shifting from content tool to a marketing orchestration platform that connects marketing, IT, creativity into a single operating model. I'm not sure. I want to get your guys' view on this. I'm not sure marketing is full blown with AI yet. I know that they're going there. A lot of companies have gotten there. just being in marketing myself in the past, I think it's a little more complex than everybody thinks it is, but I think they're going more after the organizational fragmentation than AI capabilities necessarily in some sense. So I'm sure the value's there, but do teams, do they like this? It's not a plug and play. And Tom, I mean, I know you got some, probably got some things to say about this. What's your thoughts?
Well, they better punch way above their weight. Because, I mean, who do they take heads on with that announcement? Two names come to mind, is Adobe and Salesforce.
Yeah.
And there are probably a bunch more in between. So this is something, yes, it's a strong positioning. It's a strong positioning statement. But as you said, everybody and their dog is doing orchestration right now. And the MarTech field is well crowded, is probably putting it politely. So they better get way more mind share.
Yeah. I mean, these deals that when companies switch, it's based upon trust. So, I mean, they're not just going to change because of a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
Go ahead, Sam.
Okay. So this one, I guess, I mean, this is probably the second or third story that we are covering for Typeface, and they might not be as recognized, but I think they are doing partnership with some very large consulting firms. And last time when we covered a story, I think they had done a partnership with maybe Cognizant. And when you have a partnership like that, that means they have a real enterprise play. Otherwise, they would not be excited about the partnership. So they might not be as small as you guys may feel just because they are not as recognized. So it seems like they are trying to attack a specific category in the enterprise market. I don't know, Thomas, if their competition would be Salesforce or Adobe. I don't think they are attacking the orchestration, even though the messaging may feel similar. But this is very different play overall from the kind of capabilities you have from the AI perspective in aligning the cross-channel experience. I think these guys are trying to do slightly different, and maybe in the enterprise play they have a lot more scope than other spaces, I would say.
Let me refute that a little.
Yeah, please.
Before Ken can and should add on. So partnering with the GSIs does mean only one thing, that the GSIs have one more arrow in their quiver. So that doesn't mean much. And if I talk about marketing orchestration, put a release out in marketing orchestration, then I better mean it.
Yeah.
And this means they are taking the other ones head on that are already doing it, or that are also doing it, not already, also doing it. And the mind share in this market, well, probably not the wallet share, well, even the wallet share is with Adobe. Adobe is, if you're looking at the CRM market, Futurum Group has Futurum, but probably butchered their name right now. They just figured out that they are in that market number 4, and they are only doing marketing with 4.3 billion as Futurum evaluated. They are making more than SAP, for example, in that area. Adobe, I mean. And this is what Typeface puts itself up against, plus Salesforce.
Yeah, so I guess I don't disagree with that comment and assessment there. So the reason why Adobe has so much market share in the MarTech and marketing space is because of Marketo is probably one of the most adopted product from the marketing automation perspective. And then they have one more, which is Magento, which is going to be your commerce. So you have one of the biggest products. SAP is great, but SAP is not as successful from the CX perspective.
No,
it's not as well
for
adopted.
Good reasons, yeah. Good reasons, yeah.
So I agree with that assessment. But to point out one thing, I guess, I get where you are coming from overall from the partnership perspective, that partnership may not have much meaning with the consulting companies, but being the consulting company ourselves, okay, I'll tell you this. that a company is not going to commit for a vendor or a product unless they don't see some sort of money there. Okay. Nobody's going to invest in resources, certification, training, practice building. There has to be some sort of money. We get like 200 pitches a day, man. Everybody's so yeah, and Cognizant, Deloitte, they are big, right? So they are not going to invest in a practice unless they have seen some sort of money. So obviously they need to be credible. And Robert has already validated that they are fairly big. They are not as small overall from the size perspective as well. More comments, guys? No?
Yeah, so
Ken,
go.
The thing I really like about this is and I'm a big fan of things that are provocative, and I like that they're being a little provocative with how they've approached the release. So I think that being able to think about it from, moving from AI experiments to something which is repeatable, scalable, governed. Okay, that's an interesting take. And I'd be like, okay, sure, tell me more. That does not necessarily mean that I'm going to buy what you're selling, but I'm interested in hearing more because those things are, kind of like where the State of the Union's at, right? You got lots of pieces and parts. How are we bringing it together? How are we managing and controlling it and being sure that we got the right outcomes that are associated with it? And then the last thing, like the continuous learning marketing system, again, provocative in the fact or in the sense that it's like we're casting towards a future that we want to live in. But exactly how do you get there? What's the pathway? How does all this actually work? And it's more of like the show me state kind of mentality, which is, okay, great, I'll take a conversation, but you better have your pitch like right on to make sure that you can show this is how we go from nice marketing talk to reality.
All right, well, that's good comments. Let's wrap up. Want to get everybody's thoughts on, is anybody coming across past tense or future tense explainable AI?
Well, it needs more explainability. That's for sure.
Is it useful in what we're all talking about today, or past tense or future tense?
Sorry, that I don't get.
So explainable AI is a term that basically provides why, why and how and processes and methods that allow humans to comprehend and trust the results generated by these machine learning algorithms. It's basically another way to govern them. So I wanted to get your 2 cents on, have you heard of it? Is it coming to be a bigger deal? Is it past tense? What do we know about it?
Okay, heard of it and talked about it, demanding it since probably 2019. Because for the very reasons that you mentioned, plus some, because first you need to understand it, right? So look at the sales rep that gets a suggestion and said, well, I had a different idea. So why do you propose something different? Yeah,
that's
a simple case, yeah, which is not yet, we don't have it yet, at least not widespread. You can ask your LLM, that's fine, that gives you something. But again, that's only the simple thing. The real point comes when we are getting into what Ken mentioned earlier, auditability.
Yep.
There we are in real dire straits. So now this thing does something, and why the heck does it do it? And next auditor comes across and says, okay, now explain me how you got there. And if you can't answer that question, then you're in, well, deep waters.
Ken, what do you think?
Well, so each one of the model providers has a different take on how this would actually look in practice.
Yeah.
So I would probably point this towards explaining and reasoning models, where as you're going through, you could actually either look at, and this is kind of like the Anthropic view of the world, where as Claude goes through and actually works through a thinking or reasoning process, if you want, you can actually go in and look and say, okay, great. What's the internal conversation you're having about the thing we're talking about? So you can actually follow the trail of logic. You can look at the data sources that it's getting. And which is the second piece of what's important is what are the authoritative data sources that the engine is actually using in order to back up what the thinking process is. Now, OpenAI, that's more of a kind of, insert thing into the box churns, and then result comes out.
Yeah.
And then you've got a perplexity-like model where you go and ask a question and lots of actual resources are called out as, oh, yes, here are some line items you can actually go look at to see how I got to giving you the response I got for you. So it's not one size fits all. It actually is part of a broader piece of work that needs to get done on the person's part, which is why from an operational standpoint, I tend to use multiple models simultaneously. So I don't necessarily rely on one, but I'll actually pit them against each other to be able to show, okay, what is more like the consensus view and how can I better assure myself that what I'm getting out is actually the kind of information that, number one, I can actually trust. Yeah. And number two, as I'm looking through it, things become obvious as to where there are flaws in logic or things that I really do need to drill down into deeper in order to be sure that I'm not going to be disappointed with the result.
Sam, you want to wrap it up and tell us what you think?
Yeah. So I guess from my perspective, I'm not sure. Number one, I agree with Ken overall in terms of the whole concept, the way he has explained. But I don't know which one I like, to be completely honest, because sometimes, when you are going to get this whole recipe, it wants you to read, okay, this is the image that it is generating, which is great, but don't waste my time. Just give me the image. Okay. Sometimes there's too much, text that it is giving me, and I just cannot see it, feel it. So I don't like it. But I do like reading how, it is working, especially if I'm waiting so I can improve my prompt. I pay attention to that. So that's a part I like. But yeah, that's it on the explainable AI. And that's it for the show as well. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our Analyst Gone Wild series. We meet every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. So I'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.